Hello, everyone. You are listening to the Open to Happiness podcast. I am your host, Nicoleta, and I will be joined by Wize El Jefe today, a podcaster from Pennsylvania, USA. We will be talking about the relationship between entertainment and happiness today, and I'm so excited to talk about this topic. Hello, Wise, and welcome to the podcast.
Hello, Nicolette. Thank you for having me.
Oh, you're very welcome, and I'm grateful for taking the time to actually do this. So, Wise, let's start by finding out a little bit about you. How was your journey in life?
Oh man, it's been crazy. I was widowed at the age of 31. And
Oh,
yeah, and the person she helped me actually start my path to self-development and self just to growth. And so after I lost her for a while, I was really not in a really good place. I was really angry and just was just was not dealing with it well. And then after I lose my wife, it seemed like a few years of just straight tragedies. I reconnect with my father after 25 years of not having him in my life, only to reconnect and go see him Father's Day's weekend. Arrive Friday, that Saturday morning, he passes away.
oh my God.
Yeah, so it's a lot of tragedy. And like I said, it was probably a string of probably 6 7 years where I lost someone real close. I lost two brothers. I lost my uncle, my aunt that were really close to me. So you would think that all this, and for a while I was really angry, and then I came to the realization that this I can't be upset. I can't. I have these are things I couldn't control.
Mm,
So me being angry and upset and everything over something I couldn't control wasn't doing me any good. It was just hindering me. It was just holding me back and giving me an excuse not to move on with my life.
mm.
And when I met my wife now, she helped me get back on that path of getting back into self-development, self-help, and it it kind of molded me to when I just got furloughed from my job because I had already been wanting to do a podcast, but I was making excuses to why not to do it. So when I got furloughed from work and I was home and the wife was not at home, she was still essential, she was still working, but she had a big list for me. And so I was like, I need to find me something to do so I could get out of this honey to do list.
Mm.
So I started podcasting. And at first, when I started podcasting, it was probably like 5 minutes, 7 minutes episodes. And the more I did the show, the more episodes I did, the more the time increased. It went from 5 to 10 to 15 to 20 to now where I'm doing almost an hour show. So it's it's been something like I didn't really like. I didn't consider. I just consider my show just a conversation show.
Mm.
And people pointed out like, but you're doing something positive. You're drawing attention to certain things in life because I have people I've had you on my show and we spoke about happiness. I've had other people. So my show, come to find out, is somewhat of a self-help podcast.
Wonderful.
And I didn't really start it out that way. I just started out doing it and it just ended up being that way where the guests I have on my show all have some great stories to tell and personal knowledge that they can share with people. So for me, it's just been awesome to find my happiness, to find my passion. Because I'm what I'm 45 years old. I started my podcast when I was probably 40, like before I turned 44. and I didn't know what I was ever passionate about. Like I had a career, I have a great career, I make good money and everything, but I wasn't. You could. I wouldn't say I was passionate about it. I wouldn't say I would wake up every morning and be like, oh, I got to go to work, and I'm. No, I didn't have that career.
No.
But once I started recording, I found what I truly love to do,
Mm,
and that's be behind the mic and be able to share my story or share someone else's story and bring it up and bring it out to light and bring it out to the people. So that's when I really truly started finding my happiness.
mm. It sounds fantastic because, in a way, you have a good start in life, but then you're having all of these losses on the way, which are very, very challenging, as we all know. And out of this pain and suffering, then something else is coming up because they prepare you for your new entertainment role, because your career in the past was still in entertainment, wasn't it? But a different kind of entertainment. Maybe you can say a few words how
Oh yeah, no.
you ended up doing that, and how
Well,
is it for you?
I'm still in there. I'm still in
Are you
that
still there?
industry.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm still in that industry because, like I said,
Okay.
it's a easy. I get paid to play games. Basically, I am a table games dealer. So that means I deal blackjack, baccarat, craps, roulette. Only thing I don't deal right now is poker, and I don't think I want to deal poker. Those players could really be a pain in the butt.
Mhm.
but but yeah, I play games for a living, and it's fun. It's cool. I would suggest it to anyone who doesn't know what they want to do, but they want a job that pays well, and if you don't mind being in a casino environment, it's a great job. It makes people can have real long lasting careers in this. But for me, it's just it's a stepping stone. It's something for me. It's helped me develop my personality. It's helped me because you have to have a personality to deal with people, and in order to get tokes, you gotta have you can't just be boring on the table. You have to
Absolutely.
be able to entertain, and even make them, even when they're losing, make them have a good time while they're losing, because a lot of the time they are losing. So,
Most of the time.
yeah, so
Yeah.
that's helped me build my personality up more, and it's helped me in podcasting because, like I said, it's made me come out of my shell a little bit more, where I probably wouldn't have communicated with, I guess, because I was, prior to that I was security. I was a security guard, and so people don't really, you don't really have to have a personality to do security work. But like I said, but to do table games, you just have to have a personality. You have to, that person has to come out of you. You have to be able to communicate with people and make them laugh. And so it's helped me in that aspect because I've grown to be more comfortable and be able to talk to people.
Mm. Maybe it's allowed you in a way to come out of your shell and be who you really are, and express yourself in ways that you couldn't have because you were suppressed in the security sort of world, where you need to present a specific social persona, professional persona. You can't just be yourself. So it's an interesting change for you. And now, what's the difference between that kind of entertainment in the casino and what you're doing right now out of passion, doing podcasting, and in particular focusing on stuckness in the mind?
So what's the difference? Well, first of all, with it's, yes, it's entertainment, yes, but you can't go into them, and you can't go in thinking that you're gonna win off the back, because you're already starting off a loser when you come into the casino thinking that, hey, I'm gonna win all this money. Like, go in and just have a good time, going with money that you be responsible, because there's some people that have lost their lives to the casino. So be responsible. Like, if you only have $100 to gamble with, that's what your budget entails you, that's what you play with that and enjoy that and have a good time. But don't go and think that you're gonna win these thousands of dollars, because you'll just end up broke.
Yeah, and there are many people that are gamblers, aren't they? I suppose you see many around. Is that real?
And they're
Gambling?
everywhere. Growing up, for me, it was only here. When I was growing up, you had only Atlantic City and Las Vegas. Now you have all these different states with all these gambling casinos. So it's a big multi-billion-dollar corporation business. So it's good to have sometimes it's good to get out and have a good time, but do it in moderation. At least with my podcast, it doesn't cost them anything, and they're getting some positive content, some good content, and some great people coming on and sharing their stories. So
it's a different audience, isn't it? It's a different audience.
Yes.
Yes, in between these two worlds. And how are you managing actually juggling both of them?
You know what? It's funny. I have a lot of coworkers that listen to me, that enjoy my podcast. I have a couple of them that always, when I say coming to work, they always say something. And it's cool because they're actually, you would think your family would be your biggest supporters. Like, they would be your biggest fans.
Yeah. They never listen to our podcast. Nah.
No,
they don't know what we're doing.
They don't. It's not. It's people that you would be completely amazed at that are your biggest fans.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where do you feel more comfortable yourself in these two different worlds?
I love being behind the mic. I love this. This is what I want to do. This is where I want to be. And when I first started, I didn't start off with the equipment I have. I purchased a $160 Behringer podcast studio on Amazon for $160 in 2019. And I had it sitting around the house and I would mess with it until I finally got the courage to press record and start using the equipment. And when I found out that this is what I wanted to do, I went and I purchased some better equipment. I went and got me a quality mic. I went and got me the holy grail for podcasters, which is the Rodecaster Pro. I have everything on there. I can do everything with it. It's improved on my editing, and I've learned so many different programs. And now I've shifted to video as well now on my podcast. So I'm learning about what lenses I'm going to start using, what cameras you start using. So it's great. It's being able to learn and grow in a field that I didn't know I loved.
And you keep discovering it in a way.
Yeah,
it's unfolding.
So being able to find something that you didn't know you love so much, and being able to research it. And YouTube is my best friend. Like, I watch so many different videos I think I spend more time on YouTube researching things than I do anything else. Because when I want to find something out and someone can't provide me the answer, there's more than likely a video or something on YouTube that helps me.
Yeah. Such a wonderful space. So why is the entertainment making us happy? Why are you happy doing this podcast?
Because even in the short time that I've been doing it, I've been able to touch people. I've had people send me messages and say, like, yo, listening to one of your episodes really has pushed me and motivated me to step out of their zone and do something that they were afraid of doing. So me and a friend of mine, I've interviewed friends, celebrities, And one of my friends I had on, he's a real successful real estate agent in Brooklyn. And we just talked about manifestation, goal setting, and all these other things. And we had another friend listening who listened to the episode. And she sent me a message after she listened to the episode. She was like, listening to two people I knew growing up, listening about how y'all, what y'all did, what goals did y'all set, what were y'all doing. That just inspired me to go and start my business. She's like, I have been wanting to start my own personal business, and I just didn't. She said, but
Yeah.
listening to you guys talk about goal setting and manifestation, that pushed me to go get the licensing that I needed and start my business. And being able to hear someone tell you that is awesome. Like
Yeah.
if it's one person that I'm able to help, that's amazing.
Well,
I've changed somebody's life.
wow. I completely agree with that. It's a service, isn't it, that brings happiness. Just serving others and helping others and being there for them. And yes, inspiring, encouraging, empowering. Such a beautiful journey. Why stuck in the mind then? Why this title in particular?
Because that's where everyone is at. That's where you get stuck at. You're
Yeah.
stuck in your own head. Like you make up the excuses to why you can't. Like with me, my excuse for not doing the podcast was, who would want to listen to me? Why would they want to listen to me? I sound horrible. Oh, I was stuck in my own head. I was just
Yes.
making up excuses for why I couldn't do this.
Yeah.
And that's with everything. That's with anything. Like
Yes.
you always find something like, oh man, like you always find something that, oh man, I'm gonna do this. And the moment that you have one setback, you just stop because you don't want to fail anymore. You're tired. You're like, and I got tired of that. I got tired of the excuses and not being able to really step out of my comfort zone and make myself uncomfortable. But that's where I needed to be. I needed to make myself uncomfortable. So I pressed record, and that's how it started. It took me just pressing record, and that helped me face the fear of failing. That basically stopped me from making up excuses.
Yeah. This resonates in me so well because I felt the same. I never had an idea about coming out in front of people. As that a psychotherapist, we just work in that intimate space in our safety, in our rooms, with one client coming into that power dynamic. So it's very comfortable. Never thought in a million years I'm going to get the courage to be on camera or even, record something audio. But I'm writing a book. I'm doing a digital course. I said, well, if I'm keeping all of this just for myself, and I'm not inspiring others in the same way others have inspired me and have mentored me without even knowing sometimes, and have allowed me to get a bit of light into this journey that I'm taking on earth. Then what's the point of it? So this idea of service was very powerful in me, but I was afraid because I didn't think that's in my nature, that's natural for me. But you get better at it, isn't it? Because when you break through all of those fears and worries and blockages and barriers, you really get out of the stuckness of the mind. I call it the
Yeah.
tunnel mind.
Yeah.
I call it's the programming, whatever others have planted in us. And I even have a
Yeah.
resource about this on my resources page on my website. I call it the three entangled minds, because we don't have just one mind. Whatever others have showed us in life, have taught us, we can choose how we
Yeah.
rewire
And
our brain.
that's what I'm doing right now. I'm rewiring myself. I'm reprogramming my brain.
Yeah.
I've really stopped watching TV. I really have, like, everybody like, oh, you haven't watched Squid Games? I'm like, no. And they're like, why not? Because it's a distraction. It's just something
Yes.
else to keep my mind distracted from what I want to do and from where I want to go. So I've really stopped watching a lot of TV. I'll watch TV in the morning with the wife, watching some news and stuff, but I don't even pay attention to that. But for the most part, like I said, I spend most of my time trying to improve. I'm always looking at some videos. I'm always trying to communicate with someone because I've made some great relationships doing this. I've been able to do some great things. Last year I was a part of a indie podcast um, convention that they had. It was the first year of it. It was awesome. It was because we had so many different views. We were seen all over the world, and this was like one of my first experiences to really reach an audience that way, to really do a live show and reach a lot of people. This year, I've actually stepped up, and I'm the head sponsor of the convention this year, and I'm excited because from podcasting, I launched my production company. We've launched the internet radio station. We've have Teesprings, which does our merchandising. We've done so many different things just by pressing record.
Wow, this is powerful, isn't it? It's a wonderful, wonderful journey. And I'm so happy for you. And I'm so happy that we met because we share a lot uh, in terms of how we bring ourselves out there in front of others and what our mission is. So
And
tell me
it's
about,
crazy. It's crazy
yeah,
because we come from two different walks of life.
yes, through
Completely
places. I was born in Romania, you know, in
two
Europe.
completely different places. Yeah, two completely
Yes,
different places of life in our journey and our, but our energy is so attuned with each other. That's why we're having this conversation. That's why this conversation is going on. That's why I spoke to you on my show, is because this was meant to happen. This is the energy that we're putting out there. This is what we want the people to see, is that even though we're from two different worlds, we have so much in common, so much similarities, so much things that we know that, like, okay, it's cool. It's great to be able to connect with people who think similarly, who basically have the same energy, who want the same thing out of life that you want.
yeah.
And that's what I've been blessed with. A lot of my guests have been amazing.
Mm. I feel that this is a very key word that you used there, connected. I think we are all connected anyway, and it's the same world. This story about separation and differences, and you know, we are all different, we are all individuals, and whatever the scientific revolution change in the world for 300-400 years, I don't think it's going to change our essence. We are all connected, and we all want the same thing. Everyone is striving to create a happy and fulfilling life, and that's a right for everyone. Yeah, we shouldn't be fighting for it. It should be just natural. It should be just easy, and we shouldn't have structures in the world to make sure that
That's
we
what it
get more or
is.
less happiness.
That's what it is. People, they get stuck in the system. They get stuck with the programming,
Yes,
and they feel that they have to compete with each other.
yes,
No, that's
yes.
not necessarily true.
No,
It,
it's a lie.
we're able to succeed with each other, boosting each other up, with us
Yes.
supporting each other. It's not all about competition. I don't see all these other podcasters as my competition. I want my podcast friends to be successful. That just pushes me to be like, okay, he did it. Now it's my turn. Now I can do it. I see my friend doing it. My formula might be a little bit different from his, but if I put the same effort and the same work that he's put into it, I should have basically the same results,
Or even better.
or even better. Yes,
Yes. And
but it's not. I don't like all my. I support all my friends. I see someone who's starting a business, and they're doing shirts and stuff like that. I'll order a shirt, but that's just me. I'm there to support. I feel if you don't support anyone, who's going to support you?
fair enough. Fair enough. I feel the same. I think it's about collaboration, not competition. because you can't even compare the result of people's work, because it's all subjective, isn't it? It's how we come closer to people's hearts, and everyone with their own experience at different times, in different shapes, in different forms. And it's just beautiful to cooperate and support each other. Yeah. So lovely. So wise. I love your name as well. I mean, you are wise. It's not just a coincidence. So let's find out, what is happiness to you? What would you say happiness is about?
It's, you know what, just being able to wake up honestly, it's so cliche. But it is the fact that I get to wake up every day and have another day with my family, and have another day to be able to record and communicate with someone else. So that's what brings me happiness, is to be able to like wake up and just do what I want to do. Like, people right now, like, there's this meme. There's a meme going around that we worked for 65. We worked till we're 65 years. Like the average lifespan is what, 78 years, whatever. We
Yeah.
work for till we're 67 or 66, and then enjoy the last 11 years of our lives. I've decided that I'm not going to be that person. I'm not. It's the wife, me now on the weekends. If we want to go somewhere, we'll go somewhere. We'll do whatever we want. We decided to go on vacation every 6 months. We just went to Jamaica. In March, we will be going to Aruba. So
Sounds fantastic. Yeah.
We've just decided that life is too short for us to just be wasting away at a job and not being able to experience life, just to be able to have a great time and enjoy what's out there.
Wow. So beautiful. Because it's true. Life is happening right now. If you miss this, it's over. It's past already. You can't grab it. It's over. There is another second that is coming as life. But most likely, if you get stuck in that mind, you will lose that one as well. And then we seem to be floating between, ruminating about the past that didn't go well, that upset us, and then, projecting onto the future, thinking of what we would have liked to have, and not having the courage to maybe go for it, taking the action. And we waste this moment, the now. The here and now is everything we have. And I think it's so important that people are starting to awaken and put a bit more focus on the presence of this very moment.
It's funny because before I've the mind shift, in my mind shift, I would say these millennials were like, oh, they're disorganized, they're crazy. No, they just refuse to be labeled. They refuse to be pigeonholed.
Yes.
And me being programmed, that made me be like, oh, they suck. They don't know what no, they're awake. And I wasn't awoken at that time. And it just made me be like, oh, they don't know what they're doing. When all along it was me. It was me who was closed and centered and not open and not aware and not aware of my surroundings. And once it did hit me, it made me realize that they have the key.
They are visionaries. Obviously, they
Yeah.
see what we can't see, other generations.
Yeah.
Can I just maybe be a little bit cheeky and ask? You can only answer if you wish.
Okay.
What triggered your awakening process? Was it the pain from the past? Was it just an accumulation of things?
Yeah, it's me coming to the realization that I had the blinders on. That's what it really was. It was me coming to the real. So yeah, the moment, I guess a lot of it really was when I pressed record and got out of my own head.
Yeah,
and
it's
was able
interesting.
to was able to step out of the dark
Yeah,
and just let the light hit me and be and that's how it is now. So now I just like I find myself, I'm not, I guess you would say I have no filter. I speak my mind. I'm gonna speak my mind if I feel something is wrong, or if I feel something is not. I'm over the fact that people are so sensitive nowadays that you can't like you can't say anything about anyone now. Like, and that's fine. That's great, but it's just too much nonsense. It's just giving people another excuse and reason to really hold themselves back.
Yeah. Remain stuck in the mind, because in a way we are restricted and restricting ourselves, following all sorts of norms and rules that have been written or unwritten, and they just circulate through generations, customs, habits, ways of doing things, taboos, and so on. But what you describe is very similar to some of my experiences, when you felt like you're suffocating within that version of yourself that you used to be, not allowing the real self to emerge, not permitting yourself to be who you really were. And then you press that button and you embrace the freedom. You liberated yourself in a way from all of those nonsense restrictions that you placed on yourself, or the world has placed on you, in terms of labels and categorizations and what's appropriate, what's not appropriate, what you should do, what you should not do. And I think this is the aim of life, to reach that moment of personal freedom and liberation, when you are really able to be yourself in all aspects of your being. I mean, not be yourself with yourself, and then when you go out in public, you take your social persona, someone else. And there is a huge gap between these two, and you feel unaligned. You don't feel like this is a good life. It's something that is bothering you inside. And so many people get ill, and I've got ill myself, get ill because of this imbalance, this harmony, or I don't know, lack of homeostasis. I don't know how people call it from different perspectives, but this is important. So you gave yourself that freedom. No one came to say, look, Wize, you should be doing this and this. It was part of your journey, part of your path that you had to walk. It's such a beautiful story. And would you say then that relationships are essential for our happiness? Because you've been challenged a little bit, having losing your wife at such a young age. You didn't get a chance to actually consume that relationship, to see how it would blossom, how it would develop. Where would that go, if would that continue or not? So would you say that relationships in general are essential for our happiness?
Yes, but don't get it twisted with the fact that you don't assume that you need relationships to be happy.
Okay.
I'm saying you do need relationships for yes, but those relationships shouldn't be the key to your happiness.
Because you have a relationship with yourself, isn't it?
Yes, first of all, more. Yeah, you have to have. Yeah, you have to be able to. Like, anybody says it. It's like, how can you love someone if you don't love yourself?
Mm-hmm.
So if you don't have a relationship with your true self, how can you have a relationship with anyone else showing your authentic self, being you, if you can't be yourself with yourself?
Yeah,
that makes sense.
Yes, it does. It does. It's full of wisdom. But then the question is now, okay, you have a relationship with yourself, and you're doing your best, and you're developing, you're growing, you're doing the work, your inner work.
Yes.
But then you're hit by challenges. How do you retain that happiness?
That's what life is, though. That's what life is.
So how do you stay happy? How do you embrace happiness when you go through difficulties?
Because you're not always going to be happy. I had an episode on, and I had a lady on, and it was called 88% happiness, and she was with the fact that 88% happiness in your life is really good, because you're not going to be 100% happy. You're always you're always going to find something that pisses you off, or But you should listen with me. Yeah, I'm not perfect. I'll have my days that I'm angry and upset. And then when I kind of realize that, why am I upset? And come to my senses and be like, duh, we get over it. Like, you can't stay dwelling on it. You have to let go
Yes.
and move on. Then, because like, listen, if you're 100% happy, you're dead.
Yeah,
Basically,
probably. Yeah.
yeah.
I think it
So
does oscillate. Yeah.
yeah, so I don't think it's everybody wants to be like, oh, you need this to be happy, or you need that. You need a little bit of this, a little bit, but you mainly need you to really love yourself and be able to find that it's okay to be upset. It's okay. You're not always going to be, everything's not always going to go correct. It's how you deal with the adversity and pick yourself up. That's the key. So
Mm.
I could have easily let all these losses made me bitter and angry, because which I was, and when I was that, my life wasn't the best.
Mm.
Because it wasn't. It was I was homeless. I was different things happened to me that, but that's because I was not in tune with myself.
Yes.
I wasn't within. I wasn't my true self with myself. So yeah, I struggled. But again, the moment I switched it and flipped it, things started happening.
Mm.
Blessings started coming my way. Opportunities started coming my way. And this is all within the last year, within the
Mm.
last year and a half or so, since the transformation of me being able to let go of the little stuff, basically.
Yes. Yes. Strip yourself from the old, isn't it? So you can create that space for the new, for what's about to come up and unfold. And remain curious. I think we need to remain curious and excited with how our lives are transforming, and exercising that choice. This is something that people forget about. We have the choice actually to influence the way we feel in our body, mind, and soul. But sometimes we forget about it. So, Wise, let's now maybe share with people towards the end. What's your, I don't know, the greatest learnings that you've captured through life? How can they maybe make use of entertainment to be happier? If the entertainment is maybe providing a little bit of false happiness sometimes. Uh, some of the learnings, where are you sitting with all of this? And yeah, let's just see what's coming through you.
At first, I thought it was selfish on my part doing my podcast and having these guests, because I felt that, oh, I'm getting all this knowledge and all these great guests that are sharing some amazing tidbits and some amazing stories. And then someone pointed out to me and said, that's not being selfish. They're like, if anything, you're showing that you love yourself, that you have a lot of self love, because you're willing to accept that you don't know everything, that you're
Absolutely.
still learning and growing. And that's what I would want everybody to realize is, the moment you feel like you know everything, it's over. So I don't know everything. I'm still growing and learning. I'm still being fascinated by different people and their stories, and being able to bring their stories to other people. There's still a lot of me. I'm still learning. I'm still growing. I have a lot of things that I want to get done. So I'm not, I just, like I tell anyone, I'm like, the moment you feel like you know, like you know everything, then there's something wrong. Like, cause you don't know everything. There's
No one knows
no,
anything. No.
you don't know. So I just try to enjoy my days here, and continue to make my life easier by gaining as much knowledge as possible, and then being able to spread that knowledge to other people
Mm.
is also key.
Cool. And what are your tips for happiness, entertainment and happiness maybe? Well, how would you maybe encourage
Find
others to find happiness?
find what you love to do. If you feel that you can be the best chef in the world, but you're just afraid to take the chance, take the risk. Is what's the worst thing that could happen? Is you fail.
You're
It's
learning
okay.
a lesson.
Yeah, it's okay.
Yeah.
I've failed at a lot of things. I'm sure everyone has. Everyone has experienced failure. Well, now it's time for you to take those experiences and apply it and be like, listen, I did this, it didn't work. Let me try this and see how this works. And that's what life is taking all your failures and learning from them and eventually winning.
Mm. Wow. Thank you so much. That sounds fantastic. I love the energy around you and how soothing this podcast episode was. It was such a beautiful time to actually be here with you. It felt like very relaxing. I don't know how to say, effortless in a way. It just unfolded really nicely. It flew beautifully. So it's been a very, very special experience for me. And I want to thank you for that because you've created that with me. I wouldn't have done it probably. If you would let me on my own, I would probably speak quickly, raise my voice, and I don't know, do things, try to fit us a lot
I've
in.
been told that. I have that voice that soothes people.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. You're
But
made for this.
and I didn't really, and like I said, I didn't know. I didn't know this is what my calling was supposed to be. I had been I had been blinded. I didn't know, because I've always felt like I've wanted to be a teacher.
Oh, you are a teacher already now, but it's a different kind
Yes.
of teaching,
So
isn't it?
now, so
Yeah.
yeah, so I've always felt that this has helped me actually gain the confidence to actually go into coaching and go get certified into being a coach. And so it's opened so many opportunities for me. It's just made me a better person to be able to step out of my comfort zone again and make myself very uncomfortable, but find my happiness, find what I truly love to do.
Mm. Wonderful. Thank you so much for sharing all of your gifts with the world, all of your story with the good and the bads and the ugly, as they say it. Thank you for inspiring people, for doing what you're doing. Carry on doing it. I'm very excited actually to see what's going on in your life in the future. We'll keep in touch and maybe chat again at some point. Yeah, thank you so much for everything. Thank you for being here.
I appreciate you have I appreciate this. I love it's easier. I find me being a guest is so much fun because I don't have to do any work.
Well, you've
I just
done
got to
it
show
enough.
up and talk.
Yeah,
So
but
it's
it's
so
still
much
work.
easier to be the guest. It's so much
It's
easier to be
nice.
the
It's
guest.
nice, isn't it?
Yes, it's
Yeah,
nice.
it's nice
Yes.
to change for a while. So thank you so
Yeah.
much, Wise. Thank you for everything.
Thank you for having me. This has been great.
It's been fantastic for me, and you're very welcome. A big thanks to all of you listening. And until next time, we are wishing you all good health and happiness.
Bye.